Automation has been into existence since the 1920s, but it has only gained popularity in the early 1990s. As the word automation suggests, the software provides assistance to various kinds of daily tasks such as data entry and invoice processing. Now, robotic process automation is the new age technology which helps you perform tedious tasks with ease. And Automation Anywhere is one of the leaders in the RPA market. So, hello all, this is Sahiti on behalf of Edureka, and I welcome you to this session on RPA Automation Anywhere. So guys, in this session, we'll be mainly focusing on Automation Anywhere, and we're going to learn in depth how exactly Automation Anywhere works, right? So without wasting any further time, let's look into the topics for today's session. So we'll start today's session by understanding what is robotic process automation, and then I'll tell you the top RPA tools. Once you understand them, we'll discuss about Automation Anywhere since the session is about Automation Anywhere, and then I'll tell you the Automation Anywhere's architecture and products. Once you understand how to install Automation Anywhere, I'm going to tell you what industries use Automation Anywhere, and finally I'll end this session by showing you how a company benefited by using Automation Anywhere and then a hands-on in which we're going to extract data from PDFs and then we're going to store it in an Excel file, right? So I hope I'm clear. Alright, so let's get started now. Now consider an instance where an employee's sole job is just entering details on a server on a daily basis at a specific day of time. Now do you think the employee should do this manually or try to just automate this task? Obviously the second option sounds better, right? So basically the employee can make a robot to do the job for him by configuring the required actions. Now this process of robots doing a set of tasks without any human intervention to help the user use their talents in a better way is nothing but robotic process automation. Now if I have to just define these terms for you, that is robotic process and automation, then robots basically are the entities which basically mimic the human actions. So any entities which mimic human actions are robots. Now process obviously implies the sequence of steps which lead to a meaningful activities. So any robot which follows a set of steps basically follows a process to mimic the human action. And finally, automation means any process which is done by robot without any human intervention. Now, when you summarize all these terms together, that is robotic process and automation, mimicking human actions to perform a sequence of steps that lead to a meaningful activity without any human intervention is nothing but robotic process automation, right? So I hope I'm clear with this point, what exactly robotic process automation is. Alright, so now that I said that, robots perform your jobs, let me just tell you that, they're not actual physical robots performing your jobs, but there are various tools present in the RPA market performing your jobs, right? So these tools offer various products and the functionalities to do so. So now let me just quickly brief you with the market leaders in RPA, right? So as I said before, there are various tools available in the RPA industry such as, Pega, Cryon Systems, NICE, WorkFusion, AntWorks, and Edureka. But the top leaders in the market are Blue Prism, UiPath, and Automation Anywhere. Alright. Now, since this session is completely based on Automation Anywhere, let's just only concentrate on Automation Anywhere. So with the note of this, let's know what exactly Automation Anywhere is. So Automation Anywhere is basically an RPA tool whose motive is to provide its users with scalable, secure, and resilient services. This tool offers a 30-day free trial to let you explore the tool first and automate tasks, and then provides you with an enterprise service. Automation Anywhere also offers better performance as it has the ability to integrate to different platforms and also scale simultaneously. This tool is meant to be used in the enterprise level and is mainly designed for solving complexity issues, right? So if I have to just summarize Automation Anywhere for you, it's just an RPA tool which provides the users with scalable, secure, and resilient services. It offers a 30-day free trial, so if you just want to automate tasks, or if you're new to RPA and if you want to learn how to automate tasks, then you can definitely go for this tool, and this tool also integrates with different platforms, right? So now that I've told you a little bit about Automation Anywhere, let me just quickly tell you how its architecture is. Automation Anywhere architecture basically follows a distributed architecture. To this architecture, it mainly makes sure that centralized management is accomplished via Automation Anywhere's control room. So as you can see on the screen over here, there are mainly three components of this architecture, that is the bot creators, the control room, and the bot runners, right? So let's just discuss about each of them one by one. Alright. Now talking about bot creators, as the name suggests, bot creators are basically used to create bots. These are basically desktop-based applications which authenticate against an active control room and only have the access to upload or download the bots. On configuring these bots for the control room, multiple developers can create individual tasks or bots and execute all of them at once. So basically, if you have to just understand bot creators, then bot creators are basically used to create bots, and they are used to just upload and download the bots to the active control room, right? So basically, if you just look into the Automation Anywhere's architecture, you'll clearly understand that it completely revolves around the control room, right? So basically, the main component of this architecture is control room, and bot creators and bot runners are just subordinate components which help the architecture to run in a distributed manner, right? So now let's understand how exactly control room works. Control room is basically, as I said, the most important component of the architecture. It's a web server that basically provides the bots created by the bot creators. Now, as Automation Anywhere focuses on the centralized management, the control room offers features such as centralized user management, automation deployment, source control, and also provides a dashboard. So don't worry, I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're going to install Automation Anywhere and then we're going to start working on it. So don't worry about that. I'll show you how that works. So now let's move on to the third component of this architecture, that is the bot runners. Bot runners are basically used to execute the bots. So multiple bots can be executed in parallel and they cannot be updated or they cannot create any automation, right? So there are basically runtime clients which are installed on the Windows machines and can report back the execution log status to the control room. So if we just summarize all these three components together, then once a developer creates a bot and updates onto the control room, the control room can hereby schedule and execute these bots on the bot runners based on the requirements or on the priority of the enterprise, right? So I hope I'm clear and I hope the architecture is clear to you guys. So now that you know the architecture of Automation Anywhere, let's get into the products of Automation Anywhere. So apart from the three products that I've told you, that is the bot creators, the bot runners, and the control room, there are mainly three more products, that is the IQ bots, bot insights, and the bot farm, right? So the IQ bots are basically cognitive bots that think like a human and have features such as self-learning abilities, algorithm-based decision makings, and subject matter expertise. These bots extract data from a semi-structured and unstructured data and use a semantic model to do so. Coming to bot insight, the bot insight is basically a tool used to analyze the performance of each and every bot. So with this product of Automation Anywhere, you can use the statistics and the graphs for your business. And coming to the final product of Automation Anywhere, that is the bot farm. The bot farm allows you to create multiple bots based on the on-demand digital workforce. So this also provides robotic process automation as a service to the Automation Anywhere enterprise, right? So guys, that was all about Automation Anywhere. I hope you understood what is Automation Anywhere, what are the products of Automation Anywhere, and what is the architecture of Automation Anywhere, and how the components of the architecture work together, right? So now let's just move forward and let's see how to install this tool. So the installation of this tool basically implies the installation of two main components, that is the IQ bots and the RPA enterprise. So with the IQ bots, you can basically create a learning instance, and the RPA enterprise is like workbench or a dashboard which lets you automate tasks, right? So let's just start installing Automation Anywhere. All right. So to install Automation Anywhere, you basically have to go to the official website of Automation Anywhere, and then you have to just go to this link, that is automationanywhere.com/in/lp/free trial, and then you'll be redirected to this particular page, right? So as I said, it offers a 30-day free trial. I'm just going to show you how you can start using the free trial. So if you just want to start using the free trial, what you simply have to do is you have to just click on the start free trial option, and then you have to mention all your details, right? So since I've already installed Automation Anywhere in my system, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to mention all the details and click on the button. But let me just tell you that once you mention all these details, that is your first name, last name, email ID, country, phone number, and the company that you're working in, and then when you finally check on this box and click on the start trial option, what will happen is you'll be redirected to a page, which will show you this particular output, which clearly says that you've requested for a 30-day free trial version of Automation Anywhere, right? So for security purposes, what Automation Anywhere's franchise does is that, it sends your login credentials for enterprise RPA and IQ bots as separate emails, right? So basically you would see that, you would get two separate emails for downloading IQ bots and enterprise RPA. So let me just open those emails and show you one by one. So I'll just open those emails. So as you can see, I've got this email to just log into my control room, that is basically the RPA enterprise. And similarly, you would get a mail for the IQ boards. So let me just search for IQ boards. And then you would see all the steps regarding how to install IQ boards, right? So I'm going to show you how you can do that. So first I'm going to log into the IQ boards, and then I'm going to log into the control room, that is basically the enterprise RPA, right? So let me just show you how you can log into the IQ boards. To log into IQ boards, as you can see in the mail, it's very clear that you just have to go to the IQ bot login page. So I'll just open that, and then you'll have to mention the username and the password, right? So whatever username and the password you get in your email, that's what you have to mention. So I'll just open this page for logging into IQ board. Let's just wait for it to open. So as you can see, we have been redirected to this particular page, that is basically the IQ bot login page. So you just have to mention the credentials that you've got in your mail for logging into IQ bot. Remember, your credentials for RPA Enterprise and IQ bot are not the same. So you have to make sure what you're logging into, right? So if you're logging into IQ bot, please make sure that you're using the credentials for the IQ bot. Else, if you're logging into RPA Enterprise, please make sure that you use the credentials for RPA Enterprise, right? So I've just mentioned the credentials for my IQ board. So once you mention the credentials for IQ board, you just have to click on this login button, and then you'll be redirected to the home page of the IQ board, right? So as you can see, this is basically the home page of the IQ board. So now you can get started by creating a learning instance, and then if you want to just automatically organize similar documents into groups, you can just get started with all these steps. So don't worry, you can explore this. Now moving on to the installation of RPA Enterprise. As I said, you would have got a mail for RPA Enterprise. So when you see this mail of RPA Enterprise, the first step that you have to do is you have to download and unzip the enterprise client file into your desired folder. So remember guys, this particular link expires in 7 days. So make sure that you've downloaded this file within 7 days, right? So let me just open the folder where I've just downloaded this particular file. So guys, this is basically the file that that you have to download and unzip. So that's what I've already done. So now once you've just downloaded and unzipped the file, what you simply have to do is you have to just double click on this file, mention the password if it's required, and then you'll see that your setup is getting prepared to install, right? So just wait for it to happen. All right. So once you double click on this particular file, that is Automation Anywhere Enterprise Client, you would see that your wizard is ready to get installed, right? So what you simply have to do is you have to click on next. Then you just have to accept the license, and if you want, you can just go through it, and then you can click on next. Once you click on next, you can just mention the destination folder, that is which folder that you want to make sure that all the files related to Automation Anywhere are stored. So that's C and program files for me. So I'll just keep that way, and then I'll click on next. Once you click on next, you'll see that you can just review your installation setting. So I want the desktop icon to be created, and then I want the plugin installations to be done. So I'll just click on install. After this, you can see that my Automation Anywhere setup is getting installed, right? So let's just wait for that to happen. All right. Now, once your wizard is completely installed, you would just see this dialog box that setup wizard is complete, right? So if you just check in this box of launch Automation Anywhere Enterprise Client, once it is done, you just click on finish, and you'll see that Automation Anywhere Enterprise Client will be launched. So let's just wait for that to happen. Now, once you see that Enterprise Client has been launched, you first get this option of client login. So this is where you have to log into your control room by using the username and the password that you've got in your mail, right? So I'll just mention the username and the password, and you have to mention the control room's login. So what I'll do is I'll just copy from here, and then I'll paste it over here. I'll again copy this, my username, and I'll paste this. I'll copy this, and I'll paste this, right? So you can see that I've mentioned my control room's URL, the username, and the password. So I'll just click on login after that. So you'll see that you'll be logged into the enterprise client, right? So let's just wait for that to happen. Now once you log into your enterprise client, you'll see this dialog box where you have to choose automate or help to automate, right? So you can choose either one of them, or you can just simply skip this step. So I'll just simply choose skip. And now once you choose skip, you'll see that you'll be redirected to the Automation Anywhere dashboard, right? So let's just wait for that to happen. All right. So as you can see, the Automation Anywhere dashboard has opened up, right? So guys, this is basically how the Automation Anywhere dashboard looks like. So don't worry, I'll show you how dashboard work when we do the hands-on part. So I hope that you've understood how to install Automation Anywhere. Guys, the steps are really simple and clear. You just have to go to the Automation Anywhere's official website. You have to mention your details. You have to just click on start trial option, and then you'll receive mails for configuring IQ boards and RPA Enterprise. So just configure your IQ port using the credentials that you've got for IQ boards. And after that, you just download and unzip the enterprise client file. And then you again just accept the license agreement and just keep clicking on next, review the installation. And then you'll see that your Automation Anywhere enterprise client is downloaded, right? So I hope that you've understood how to install Automation Anywhere. Now let's look into the next topic, that is top industries using Automation Anywhere, right? So the top industries using Automation Anywhere are the business process outsourcing, telecom industry, healthcare industry, financial services, and marketing. Coming to the business process outsourcing, automation is basically used in this industry to reduce the operational cost, improve operational performance, and increase the capacity of the work. The telecom industry uses automation to provide support to the connected customers, increase efficiency, and also enable rapid growth simultaneously. The healthcare industry uses Automation Anywhere to engage effectively with the patients to reduce the risk and also analyze the critical healthcare data. The financial services use Automation Anywhere to improve the efficiency, reduce the fraud, and also reduce compliance. And manufacturing uses automation to streamline supply chain management, reduce costs, and also accelerate production, right? So guys, let me just tell you that this is not the end to the story. There are various other industries using automation, but yet I've just mentioned 5 over here just for your knowledge, right? Now talking about industries, let me just next show you a company case study where a company started using Automation Anywhere and benefited by this, right? So the company that I'm going to talk about is Genpact. So Genpact is a services firm that aims to deliver digital transformation. A client of Genpact creates cameras, lenses, and sells them to the major companies. Now, the problem statement of this particular company was that Genpact's client's order fulfillment procedure was quite an inefficient manual process, as humans had to query the system for new orders manually. This also caused quite a chaos, as humans had to constantly log into the system. Also, they had to validate the order purchase and apply the relevant prices and the discounts. Now, obviously, this procedure was quite tedious, time taking, and was prone to errors. Now, to benefit their businesses, Genpact decided on automating their processes. Obviously, the solution was Automation Anywhere. So, Automation Anywhere and Genpact decided to re-engineer the process by using the smart enterprise processes. Their aim was to remove the inaccuracies, inefficiencies, and the human errors caused in the system. So the execution team decided on to integrate the legacy systems with the Automation Anywhere and make sure that humans have an eye on the entire process getting executed, right? So let me just tell you the process flow of the automation. So the system would first extract the data from the customer database and then check the database for the new purchase orders. Then once the purchase order gets downloaded, it would be just immediately pushed into the legacy system. After that, the agent would keep an eye on the process and manually validate the order for maintaining accuracy. And finally, Automation Anywhere would upload the purchase into Oracle and then discounts would be automatically applied, right? So apart from all of this, let me also tell you that agents would cross check the fulfilled order then and ensure the quality control, right? So what would happen is the system would first extract the data from the customer database. Then once the data has been extracted, it would be pushed into the legacy systems. After that, the agent would keep an eye on the process and validate the data. And finally, Automation Anywhere would upload the purchase into Oracle and the discounts would be applied. As a cross check to the complete system, agents would cross check the fulfillment order and ensure quality control. Right? So I hope I'm clear with this point. Now moving on to the results of this particular solution, the results observed are quite good. So the results were basically like, there was 40% improvement in productivity, there was 25% of increase in the speed of the transactions. There was zero errors caused, as manually people would not do anything. So there was less chances of errors and 90% of manual labor was reduced, right? So this is guys a quite a good number when you observe. So looking at such results, I'm sure you would be excited to learn Automation Anyway. So with that, let me just take you through the hands-on part of this session where we'll be extracting data from various PDF documents and then we'll be storing it in an Excel file, right? So let's just get started with the hands-on part. So before I start with the hands-on part, let me just show you the PDF document through which I'm going to extract data and then I'm going to store it in an Excel file. So let me just show you both these files first. All right. So as you can see on the screen, guys, this is basically a sample PDF document that I've picked to extract data from. So I'm going to extract the date, invoice, customer ID, due date, the description, the unit price, quantity, amount, the tax rate, and the total amount, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract all the values from all the PDF documents that are stored in this particular folder. So let me just open that folder and show you. and then I'm going to store the data in this particular Excel file, right? So let's see how that happens automatically. So for that, what you'll do is first you'll open your Automation Anywhere Enterprise client, and then what you'll do is you'll go to New, right? So when you click on New, you'll see an option of Smart Recorder, Screen Recorder, Web Recorder, Workbench, and Help to Automate options, right? So we'll just choose the option of Workbench. So as you can see, guys, this is basically your workbench. Now what you have to first do is you have to first create variables for all the data that you want to extract, right? So since I want to extract the date, invoice, customer ID, due date, description, and so on, I'm going to create variables for each one of them one by one. So now to do that, what you'll simply do is you'll go to this variable manager that is present on the right hand side, and then you'll go to this add option. So over here, you'll just click on this add option, and then you'll mention the variable name. So let's say, we want to create a variable for a date, right? So we'll just say issue date, and then we'll click on save. So you'll just mention the name of the variable, and then you'll click on save. Once you click on save, you'll just get a notification, or you can say a dialog box which says you're assigning null value to the variable. If you're sure, just press on yes. So I'll just press on yes, and you'll see that my variable has got created. So similarly, I will create variables for all the other fields that I want to extract data for. So the next field that I want to extract data for is invoice, customer ID, and due date. So what I'll do is I'll go to add option again. I'll say invoice number, click on save again, and click on yes again. Similarly, I'll do that for customer ID, right? So similarly, I'll do that for all the other fields. Right? So I've created all the required variables. Now the first step that you have to design is you have to design a step to open the spreadsheet, right? So for that, what you'll do is you'll go to the left hand side panel, you go to Excel and double click there, and then you choose open spreadsheet. So you'll double click on that option and you'll see this dialog box coming up. Now what you'll do is you'll mention the spreadsheet's path, right? So I'll just click on this ellipsis button, and then I'll choose this path, and then I'll mention it over here, right? Now once that is done, you'll just click on save. So this will basically design a task to, open the spreadsheet. Now, when you open a spreadsheet, you have to make sure also, right, from which cell you want the data to be filled, right? So for example, we want our cursor to be present at the A2 cell. So you'll have to make sure that, you design a task in such a way that, you make sure that the data is getting filled from the A2 cell, right? So for that, what you'll do is you'll go to this go to cell option in the Excel options, and then you'll choose this option of specific cell, and then you'll mention A2, right? So you'll mention this A2 cell over here. So that would mean that your cursor would start filling data from the A2 cell, and then you'll click on save, right? So you'll just mention save, and this will design a task to open the spreadsheet and put your cursor at A2 cell. Now what you have to do is you have to start extracting the data from PDF files, right? So to do that, what you'll do is you'll choose the PDF integration command. So for that, let's just search for the PDF integration command. So I'll find it over here. And now what I'll do is I'll choose this option of extract form fields, right? So I'll just double click over here, and you'll see this dialog box coming up. Now in this dialog box, what you first have to do is you have to mention the path for your PDF. So what I'll do is I'll just click on this ellipsis button. I'll choose demo, and let's say we want to extract for a single PDF now. So I'll just mention that PDF's file, and then I'll click on open. So this would mention my PDF file's path. Now what I have to do is I have to insert the fields, right? So basically for the variables that we have created, we have to start inserting the values. Now to do that, what you'll do is you'll click on this add option, and you'll see that your PDF file opens up. Now what you have to do is you have to drag your mouse to the field through which you want to extract the data, right? So basically you have to drag your mouse to the value where you want to extract the data. So let's say, I want to extract the data. What I'll do is I'll just drag my mouse to this particular value, and then I'll just right click over here. I'll choose add field, and then I'll mention the field name. Let's say, date, and I'll select the variable for it. So I'll select the variable to be issue date, and then I'll click on OK. So what's basically happening is this particular value is being getting stored for the issue date variable that we just created, right? So once that is done, you can just click on save. Now again, you have to repeat this step for all the other variables, basically for all the other values that you want to extract. So I'll just click on add again. And now let's say we want to extract the invoice number. So I'll just choose the invoice number over here. I'll just drag and drop the mouse from here. I'll right click here, choose add field, mention invoice, select the variable and choose invoice number and click on OK. After that, what I'll do is I'll again drag customer ID's details. So I'll just drag my mouse over here. I'll right click over here, choose add field, choose the field name to be customer ID, select the variable, click on customer ID, and then I'll click on OK. Right now, similarly, I'll do it for due date. I'll add field again. I'll say due date. I'll choose the variable to be due date and then I'll click on OK. Now I'll just choose the description again. So I'll again add field. I'll say description, suppose. I'll choose description, click on OK. Similarly, the unit price. And select the variable to be unit price. Then I'll click on OK. Now, similarly, after that, I'll choose quantity. I'll mention quantity and I'll click on OK. Similarly, I'll mention the amount. I'll select the variable to be amount and then I'll click on OK. Then I want the tax rate to be extracted. So I'll just drag my mouse over the tax rate and say tax rate. I'll select the variable to be tax rate and click on OK. Similarly, I want the total to be extracted. So I'll just drag my mouse over this particular section. I'll say total. I'll select the variable to be total and then I'll click on OK. Right? So we have extracted date, invoice number, customer ID, due date, description, unit price, quantity, amount, tax rate, and the total. Right? Now what you have to do is you just have to click on save. Right? So now once you click on save, what you'll simply do is you'll just click on save again over here, and this will make sure that all the variables have got some value for a specific PDF file. Now what you have to make sure is all these values are mentioned in each of these cells, right? Like for example, the issue date has to be mentioned in the A2, the invoice number value has to be mentioned in the B2 cell, the customer ID into the C2 cell, and so on, right? Now to do that, what you have to do is you again go back to the Excel command and then you choose the set cell command. So when you double click on the set cell command, a dialog box opens up, right? Now what you have to make sure is you have to mention the cell in which you want to choose the variable name or you want to choose the value for the specific variable name, right? So for that, let's say, the issue date starts from the A2 cell, right? So initially we're at the A2 cell, right? So what you will do is you'll go to the cell value section and you'll press on F2 and then you'll choose this variable of issue date and click on insert, right? So this would basically insert the value stored in the variable issue date into that particular cell, that is A2 cell, that is basically the active cell presently, right? And then you click on save. Now once you're done with this, the next value should be stored in the B2 cell, right? So to do that, what you have to do is you have to design a task to shift your cell. So for that, what you'll do is you'll go to cell option again and you'll say one cell to the right. So basically now your active cell would be B2 cell, that is one cell to the right of the A2 cell, right? So you'll just click on save over here. Then you'll again go to the set cell option. Again, you'll press on F2 and then you'll mention the invoice number, right? So we will just choose invoice and then we'll click on save. Now similarly, the next value, that is the customer ID, has to be stored in the C2 cell. For that, you'll again go to cell, you'll say one cell to the right and click on save again. And then again go to the set cell option, press on F2 and then you'll say choose customer ID. So you'll double click on this option and click on save. Similarly, you'll again go to cell option, one cell to the right again, click on save, then set cell option, then say due date. So you'll mention the variable for the due date. So you'll press on F2 and we'll say due date, we'll insert and then again we'll choose go to cell and one cell to the right. So guys, these two steps continuously continue until all your variables are filled for a single document, right? So suppose if you have 10 documents, then you have to go to the next cell, right? Now the active cell is D2 cell. So for example, once you're there at J2 cell, where you're finished entering the values for a particular document. Now you want to enter the values for the next document. So for that, you'll have to again go to the next row, right? So I'll show you how you can do that. But before that, let me just finish this particular action. So now again, what I'll do is I'll set the value. I'll press on F2 and then I'll say description. Right after description, it is unit price, quantity, and amount. So I'll mention that. I'll again say go to cell, one cell to right, then set cell, F2, unit price, then go to cell, one cell to the right, then set cell, We'll mention quantity now. Now after that we see its amount, tax rate and total. So I'll again say go to cell, one cell to the right, set cell, I'll choose amount. Right after amount it's tax rate and total. Then again I'll say go to cell, one cell to the right, set cell, tax rate. Again it's go to cell, one cell to the right, set cell, it's total, right? So we'll mention total. Right? So guys, if you just observe the workflow, what's happening is first you'll open the spreadsheet and then you'll mention the cell from where the values have to start. After that, you'll integrate the PDF with the variables and then you'll choose the options of set cell and go to cell. So set value will basically, set the value for the specific variable, and go to cell will just move the cursor to wherever you want to move, right? So we just moved it to one cell, right? So now that, we have filled the data for one particular document, if you want to repeat these steps for, let's say, 5 more documents or 4 more documents or any number of documents that you wish, so what you have to do is you have to fill the data right from the start again, right? That's from the A3 cell. So to do that, first what you'll do is you'll go one cell below and then you'll move it to the beginning of the row, right? So to do that, you'll again choose the option of go to cell. You'll say one cell below, right? So this would basically come to this particular cell, that is J3, right? Now you have to go to A3. Now to do that, you'll again choose the option of go to cell again and say beginning of the row, right? So this will make your active cell to be A3, right? So that's how you can do. So since I was saying that, we want to extract data for n number of documents, over here, if you observe in our PDF integration file, you would see that, we've mentioned the path for a single PDF file. So that means this execution or this automation would work for only this particular file, right? So if you just want to automate it for, a specific number of files, what you have to first do is you have to double click on the second step in the execution task, that is basically go to the A2 cell option and then you go to the loop option over here on the left hand side. You'll double click over there and then you'll choose this option of each file in a folder, right? So you'll just double click over here and over here you'll mention the folder. So over here what I'll do is I'll click on browse option. I'll mention the folder. So let me just mention the folder. Right, so I'll just mention this particular folder and then I'll click on save. Right? Now after that, what you have to do is you have to move this end of the loop to the last step. That is basically after the go to beginning of the row step. Now after that, what you have to do is you have to go to this PDF integration command. You have to double click over here and then you have to change the PDF name to be variable name. That is basically the file name, right? So you'll just remove this particular file's name and then you'll mention $file name $.pdf, right? So this would basically pick up all the PDF files present in that particular folder, right? So once that is done, you'll just click on save, right? So guys, this is how your workflow should look like. Now after this is done, what you'll simply do is you'll just click on save first. So when you click on save, you can see that you can mention your task name, let's say hands-on, and then we'll click on save. Once you click on save, you can see that you can start to execute this particular automation. So let's just execute this particular automation. So what I'll do is I'll just click on run. And when you click on run, you can see that, on the right hand side, the runtime window is opened and you can see line by line, your workflow is getting executed and the values are getting filled, right? So guys, since in our particular folder, there were only 5 documents from which the data had to be extracted. All the data that had to be extracted got stored in this particular Excel file, right? So I hope the execution was clear. It was really simple. What you simply had to do is you had to first create a design task to open the spreadsheet. And then you had to mention a task, where to place your cursor. Once you're done with that, you had to integrate your PDF and then you had to mention the file name. After that, you had to create variables. Well, you can create variables before or after that. I had created the variables in the starting step, but yes, you can create it with this step. So when you create the variables, you just have to create the variables. You have to mention for what variable, what value you want to extract, and you just have to drag your mouse through that. And then you have to just set the values and go to the next cell, right? So this is really simple, guys. And if you want to make it work in a loop, you can just use the loop command, right? So I hope, the execution was clear to you guys and you saw how the data is getting filled in our Excel document, right? So I showed you a really simple demo, guys, to make you understand how Automation Anywhere works. Well, you can definitely download the free trial version and explore as much as you can from this tool, right? So start exploring, start learning about this tool. learn how to automate tasks. And then if you have any doubts on the session, please come down in the comment sections and we'll reply to you as soon as possible, right? So guys, that's all from my side today. I hope you found this session informative. So thank you and have a great day.